Over the past 6 months, I've been able to learn a lot about pregnancy. I've been able to truly understand the emotional and physical toll that it takes on a woman, and I have a lot more respect for mothers than I did before this experience. I'm 23 weeks pregnant with my first child. I found out I was pregnant and I instantly began researching it and found out that it really interests me. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to use my knowledge while also doing more research to better my knowledge. And I'll be describing the 3 stages or trimesters of pregnancy and a little about what I've been going through as well. The first trimester of pregnancy is very important when it comes to the development of the baby. Miscarriage is always at a high risk in the first trimester because the child can have many complications and the baby is very sensitive at this point. Fertilization is the first step to becoming pregnant. The strongest sperm swims to the unfertilized egg in the fallopian tubes and attaches to it. At this point, the gender is already being determined along with hair color and eye color. After the egg is fertilized, it then has to travel to the uterus and attach itself at some point in the next few weeks. At around 3 weeks, the mother's body is producing enough HCG, which is the hormone that stops her menstrual cycle and also makes a pregnancy test show up positive, according to Kindred Bravely. Once the egg has made it to the uterus, it then splits into 2 parts, the placenta and the embryo. By week 4, the brain, spinal cord, and backbone are forming along with the optic nerve. The heart is already formed and beating at 150 beats per minute. By week 7, facial features are forming and the embryo is already able to move around a little bit. By week 8, facial touch receptors form along with the retina, nail beds, hair follicles, and intestines. By week 9, amazingly enough, all of the organs are formed and will only continue to grow from this point forward. At week 10, the embryo turns into a fetus. It already produces urine in the kidneys and makes 250,000 neurons per minute. By the end of the first trimester, the vocal cords are formed and white blood cells are ready to start fighting off germs. The first trimester is difficult. For most women, it was very difficult for me as well. I had nausea all day, every day from the moment I woke up. It wasn't just in the morning. I felt tired and exhausted all the time, and I was just very depressed and sad. In the second trimester, there is a much lower risk of miscarriage at this point, which is why many people wait to reveal their pregnancy until this point in their pregnancy. At around 16 weeks, the skin begins to form on the fetus and is nearly translucent, according to health.com. By 17 to 20 weeks, the gender is able to be determined because the genitals are now able to be seen by an ultrasound technician. The bone marrow begins to make blood cells for the baby, and smaller details being worked on, such as taste buds being formed, hair growing on the baby's head, and finger and footprints being formed. Around the mid-second trimester point, most moms begin to show their baby bump, so it really makes everything seem more real. It did for me anyways. Another thing that usually happens in the second trimester is feeling the baby kick. I've been experiencing this in the past few weeks, and it really is an amazing feeling, and it's also very eye-opening. It makes everything feel much more real. The third trimester starts at week 27, and it lasts until the end of the pregnancy. This stage focuses mostly on adding fat onto the baby to prepare for birth, and at this point, the lungs are practicing breathing movements. The lanugo, which is the fine hair that covers the baby's body, is falling off, and by the end of 37 weeks, the baby is considered full term, according to American Pregnancy Association. The baby's organs are capable of functioning on their own, so this means that the woman could go into labor at any time. The last trimester is hard for the mother to be because her stomach is so big that it's throwing her center of gravity off, and it makes her everyday tasks more difficult. All in all, pregnancy has been a very rewarding yet difficult part of my life. The first trimester has been the hardest part of my pregnancy due to the nausea, in my opinion, but every woman is different, and we all can agree that no matter how hard it may be, we would go through everything again in a heartbeat if it meant helping our child. Thank you very much.